There's only three things wrong with everyone, whether it's you, me, or our neighbor. There's three things wrong with people. And the biggest one is I'm not enough.
That's actually great news because your thoughts are yours to change. I thought I wasn't enough, and then I thought, well, why not think I am enough?
When I began to see clients, I worked out very quickly there's only three things wrong with everyone, whether it's you, me, or our neighbor. There's three things wrong with people. And the biggest one is I'm not enough. I wasn't loved. I wasn't nurtured. My parents always wanted a girl. They got a boy. They always wanted a boy. They got a girl. My mum had me out of wedlock. My dad left. I'm not enough. And so we have people with this belief, I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not worthy enough. And the I'm not enoughness is a big issue because behind every addiction, behind hoarding, behind compulsive shopping, behind binging is this I'm not enoughness. And so we've created that by just not allowing children to believe they're enough. We make them compete with other kids at school. We start to set them up. We compare them. Your niece could do that. Your cousin, well, she doesn't get food all over the table. Your brother, he could read when he was 4. And schools do that very badly too. They have tables and the smart kids. And we teach children very early on that they are not enough, and we should be teaching the opposite. And then magazines come along and shows like Friends, where a waitress lives in Central Park and has got a perfect body. And we see all these movies like, Baywatch years ago that say the same thing, you're not enough. Yeah. We are exposed every day to images of fake perfection. We look at Keeping Up with the Kardashians. I mean, that's not even real. Yeah. But we think, oh, that's real. I don't look like that, so I'm not enough. And if only doctors could treat that, I'm going to look at why you're depressed, why you're acting out, why you self-sabotage. And I'm going to look at, do you think you don't feel enough? People say to me, wow, that not enoughness, you got me in 5 minutes. I had no idea that I was sabotaging relationships, sabotaging success because of a belief I picked up when I was 4. I've been on the planet for 4 years. Of course I picked that up. But it doesn't really serve the drug companies to do that. And other people are simply trained to look for the medical reason. I was working with someone with narcolepsy recently, which is a big thing. She just couldn't stay awake. And it all went back to her father left when she was little. Then she discovered he was gay and he was living with another guy. And then her sister tragically got murdered. And she formed a belief, I just can't cope with real life. She liked to sleep. Another girl, the same issue, said that when she was born, her mother used to say, your brother was the devil. He nearly killed me. He was awake all night. It nearly killed me. But you're the good girl. Mm-hmm. You sleep all the time. She says, well, she's such a good sleeper. She's a good girl. She's always asleep. And a very small child, here's some key words. Your brother nearly killed me by being awake, but you're the angel because you sleep all the time. And of course, the mind forms beliefs. Oh, that makes me good. That makes me valid. And so, we can't blame doctors for being trained to look for the medical reason. I worked with somebody recently who had OCD, and in an hour and a half in front of a classroom full of people, we completely fixed that because it was all to do with I can't control this craziness of my life. But if all the cushions are straight, if all the silverware is straight, I feel I can control out there because I can't control in here. Mm. So when you can say to a client, look, this is why you are the way you are. And what you did made perfect sense. Any kid going through what you went through, like you, would have ended up the way you ended up. That's okay. What's not okay is to keep it going. If we look at the Marilyn Monroes of the world, they weren't loved as children. And so all her life she felt unlovable. Heath Ledger, George Michael, so many people that had such a gift, but we think they're adults, but they're not. They still have this wound. I'm a damaged kid and no one loves me. And you really got to change that label and say, I was a damaged kid, but my life is like a clock. That was the first 10 minutes. The first 10 minutes was awful, unfair, unjust, but I still got the next 50 minutes to get it together and to realize that children need mommy and daddy to love them. Adults Actually don't. You have to be your own best parent, your own best friend. A big part of RTT is something I call becoming a loving parent to yourself, finding the missing part of you, the praise you've always wanted. And we get people in hypnosis to start to say the things that a great parent or teacher might have said, because the mind doesn't know or care. If you start to go, hey, I'm great, I'm gifted, I'm amazing, it doesn't go, well, who's saying that? It just lets it in. It sinks in like lotion on dry skin and nourish you, just like lotion nourishes dry skin. And so it's very important to understand that your job is to nourish you with the right words, the right images. And as long as you're waiting for someone's going to come along and make me feel good, someone's going to complete me, I'm looking for my other half. Well, no, because you're not half, you're whole. And when you become whole, you can find someone else, but they'll never be the other half of you, because why would you think you're a half if you haven't got someone in your life?
That's right. So good. So good. You know, again, I'm having all these different memories pop up as we're chatting. And, we did this live event. Well, we haven't done a live event, obviously, in a while, because of COVID, but I used to put a mirror on everybody's desk about 2 years, well, not 2 years, 2 days into the event. And of course, you have this moment where they pick the mirror up and you just have them say, stare at yourself, and you're like, make goo eyes, call yourself, you're beautiful, you're sexy, you're hot, make all these kind of cutesy things. And then you go, everybody repeat after me. And everybody's like, oh, okay, because they're thinking we're going to keep on with the cuteness and stuff like that. I said, everybody repeat after me. I forgive you. And you let it sit there for just about 10 seconds. And we've had so many people hit the floor crying because they've never allowed themselves to forgive themselves for the mistakes or the things that they've judged themselves, maybe that weren't even their fault to begin with. I find that people, for some reason, they take full responsibility for things that they have no responsibility over, and they take no responsibility for things that they have full responsibility.
Yeah.
And as I'm going through this and I'm hearing you talk, I'm just like, man, I wish I was near Marisa. Well, earlier, because I find that significance breeds purpose. And if you don't know who you are, why you are, and you're not in that place where you can be affirmed, then essentially it makes it really hard to figure out why you're even here on this planet. I've always said that there's basically 3 questions you got to ask. Who am I? Why am I here? What am I supposed to do about it?
Yeah.
And I feel like everybody's chasing question number 1 from the time that they're born. And unfortunately for many people, all the way until the time that they're no longer walking the earth anymore. And that's one of the things I love most about the RTT method is you can cut decades off of internal suffering, decades off of unclarity, decades off of not having direction. Talk a little bit about how the mind breeds into a person's overall sense of purpose and identity.
Well, we are all here for a reason. We're all here with a gift, and your gift lies directly behind and actually is linked to what you love to do at the age of 7 and 14. And many of us don't know, but if you're always doing puzzles, then you should probably be a strategist. If you're always cutting out stuff making little clothes for your dolls out of Kleenex, you're probably going to be a designer. Joe Malone was always making perfume in her garden from old petals. And I used to write books, all them stories, and they were always stories about disadvantaged families. So clearly I was always going to be a therapist fixing people. Many people said, I don't have a purpose, or surely my purpose is to find someone and have children. Isn't that my purpose? Well, that's a wonderful thing to do. But in fact, we all do have a purpose. And when you find your purpose and have the confidence to go after it and the work ethic to do something amazing, your life will be extraordinary. But you see, in school, we don't talk about what are your gifts. We talk about you got to be good at maths and you got to be good at this. And we try to make all the children the same. I was lucky. I went to a very unusual school. My father was the head teacher, where you didn't have to go to lessons. You weren't good at in the whole of Finland now. Children pick their curriculum. Mm-hmm. And my father was just saying, these kids are good at IT, so they can spend all their time only. What's the point of learning French? I mean, how is that going to help someone who's going to end up being in construction? Mm-hmm. And so I think the whole education system, where it pits kids, it doesn't reward effort. It only rewards achievement. The smart kids get the same prizes every year. You give one kid a prize and 30 kids don't get a prize. And you should not reward achievement. You should always reward effort. This kid spent much longer trying to, they deserve a prize. And so it's very important to have purpose. Many people are going to coach us out. Why am I here? I don't know why I'm here. And it's very important to understand that you do have a gift. You may not know what it is. I mean, look at that movie, Catch Me If You Can. That guy now works for the FBI.
That's very true.
I recently met someone who had been a home burglar. And he found an advert and he couldn't quite believe it. And he said, we're looking for someone who's invaded homes to come and work for our security system. And he got the job. And he said, it's just amazing. I would have never realized that I had a gift for getting through security, but it feels so good that I'm now using that gift. You know, Oprah Winfrey, for instance, knows what it was like to be a disadvantaged child. And now she's helping children all over the world. So often you think, well, I don't know what my gift is. If I even got a gift, you do have a gift. You absolutely have a gift and you can find it. But finding the gift is just the first bit. You then have to work on your sense of worthiness. I deserve success. I'm worthy of success. Yep. And then you have to decide how much effort you're going to put into it. Obviously, hey, I want to be a millionaire, but well, I don't know. I want love, but they have this weird thing about I'm just going to sit on the couch. I want love. I'm doing this manifesting, and surely the love of my life's going to turn up at my door. No. First of all, decide you're lovable or worthy, or you want an amazing career, but then you have to take the next step. Put yourself in front of the kind of person you would love to have a relationship with. If you're a girl and you want a guy, stop doing yoga and go into the weight room. If you're a guy, get out of the weight room and go into the yoga room. You have to be productive. Where are the kind of people I want to spend my life with? What kind of job do I want? Maybe I need to do some research, some extra studying to be around those people. It isn't enough to just have this wishing and hoping. Because when you wish and hope, what you're saying is, I wish for love. I hope for success. Your mind goes, well, keep wishing and hoping. Never going to happen.
Yeah.
You have to go, I am going after this. What I want wants me. I'm moving towards it. I'm taking action. I will not let anything get in my way. And I think I think some self-help tomes have made people believe that all you have to do is sit at home and meditate and everything you want will turn up at your door. It's not quite like that. By all means, meditate.
That's been my experience.
Meditate for what you want, then get the confidence to believe you're worth it, and then take all the steps to go after it. You have to do all three, and all three go together very well, but you can't just do one. You can't go after what you want while believing you're not worth it. And you can't believe you're worth it without taking any action to make it happen.
So good. So good. You know, it's again, as the more and more you chat, I'm just replaying all the steps that have taken me from where I used to be to where I'm at. And I've literally followed the exact same path that you're laying out over and over and over again at different levels. There's an old analogy, new levels, new devils. It's almost like you get this certain level of confidence here. That takes you to this level of accomplishment. And then you have to kind of go through the process kind of again, not as deep as you had to before, but this constant spirit of reinvention of realizing that personal growth is in fact personal.
Yeah.
You have to take ownership of it. And I can say that for the longest time, I was the person, because of some of the stuff with my parents, chasing affirmation, chasing validation, so much so that it became less of a hunger and more of a almost like a need or a necessity that led me to accepting pretty much anything or anyone early in my life, whether that person was equally as broken as I was or not in that moment. Therefore, I chased toxic relationships after toxic relationships after toxic relationship. And it wasn't until I actually was okay just being alone and being content and just, you know, and finding that sense of significance from within that you talk so much about, that I fully began to truly understand my value. And that was when it seemed like the doors of healthy relationships opened up. Is that the same trajectory you see over and over again with people's behaviors?
Yeah, you have to realize your value. See, I see a lot of people who, for instance, very classic, very sad analogy, a kid whose parents hurt them, hit them, shout at them, diminish them, and say, I wish I'd never had you. You ruined my life. Nobody will ever want you. And one of the very vexing things about the mind is our mind is hardwired to go back to what's familiar while running away from what is unfamiliar. So if you have a parent who criticizes you a lot and someone comes along and praises you, it feels so unfamiliar that your mind wants to go back to what it knows. And so we see many people who pick destructive relationships go, I don't know what happened, but I met this person and we just clicked and I felt I'd known them all my life. What you're saying is their behavior was so familiar. I accepted it as normal. When a nice person came along, that was so unfamiliar. I wanted to run away from it. So people who have never had praise, when you praise them and go, gosh, you were really good this week, or I love what you wear, or I hear you're great. They say, no, actually, no, that was a fluke. The person who's better than they were sick, or yeah, I've had this top for 5 years, got a hole in it. They actually reject praise and add in criticism because of our wiring that says go back to what's why any 2-year-old says, I don't want to eat that yogurt, it's the wrong color. I don't eat that. What they're saying is, I don't know that food. And because I don't know it, I won't have it. Because, of course, years ago, the minute a kid could go out on the prairie and pick their own berries, they only wanted to eat stuff they already knew. So familiar used to keep us alive. I live in a fort. I'm not going to climb the walls and go off and find some strange natives down. They're probably going to kill me. And so years ago, familiar made us safe. But now we don't need to. And you have to understand, well, it's a fact that you are wired to return to what is familiar while resisting what is unfamiliar, which is why, by the way, 70% of lottery winners are dead broke in 3 years. Because if you've never had money and you get it, you get rid of all of it straight away. But here's another fact. You can make anything you like familiar. And if you want to grow your self-esteem, and why wouldn't you? The fastest way is by praising yourself. I'm good. I'm worthy. I matter. I'm significant. I was put on this planet for a reason. I have something to offer the world. And of course, as you so rightly said, when you began to recognize your own value and say, hey, I'm a worthy person. I deserve love. I deserve good, respectful love. I deserve success. When you really recognize you are worth it, you begin to radiate that out. But no one else can do that for you. You have to do it yourself. And one of the best things you can do for yourself by far is to wake up every day and to say these 4 things. I am significant. I matter. I'm lovable just the way I am, and I'm enough. You go, yeah, but I'm not lovable. I need to lose 30 pounds. It doesn't matter. You must say it. I matter, I'm significant, I'm enough, and I'm lovable. Repeat those over and over again, because first of all, the mind learns by repetition. Secondly, the mind doesn't really care what you tell it. Whatever you tell it, it goes, you must be right. Yeah. You know, I'm a big loser, I'm an idiot, I've got rocks for brains, I look at a cake and I gain a pound. Well, the mind doesn't differentiate. You can choose to be positive or negative, but what you can't choose is what you do to yourself when you say negative things like, I'm just an idiot, I'm just a big loser. So just start to say those 4 little statements of truth. They're not affirmations, they are statements of truth. And as you repeat them, they'll start to sink in, they'll start to make a difference, and they really can change your life. And their strength is very much in their simplicity, but also in their honesty, because you know what? It's true. You do matter. You are significant. You are lovable. You are enough, and you need to know it. Yeah. And when you know it, the world will join you in knowing it too.
How do you love yourself? Well, first of all, it is vital, essential, crucial for you to love yourself. If you want anyone to love you and be with you and stay with you, they have to believe you're worth loving. And if you attract someone by faking it and pretending, they very quickly work out that you don't think you're worth it, then they don't think you're worth it. So what I see so many people doing is this classic mistake of trying to make someone else love them. I'm going to find this guy and try to make him love me. I'm going to find this girl, this woman, and try to make them love me. I'm going to run after love, chase after love, work so hard. I'm going to earn that love of being super good or super hot or super nice or super indispensable. And that is all a mistake. Love is not to be earned. Love is not to be worked for or run after or bought or even traded. And if you want to find love, there's one thing you have to change. It is not your body. It's not your weight, your shape, your size, the years on your birth certificate. Nothing has to be snipped off or injected in to make you feel lovable. Nothing has to be bought, added, taken away. The only thing you need to find love is a belief that you are lovable. You see, people love you to the degree that they think you're worthy of being loved. We all know that story. I couldn't find a partner. I was in an emotional wasteland, a relationship wasteland for 4 years. I met someone, and how weird, in that same month, 3 other people asked me out. That's because when someone loves you and goes, hey, I just called to hear your voice. I just rang your answering machine just to hear your voice. I just was looking at your picture. I just checked in to say you're the best thing that's ever happened. We think, oh, I'm so lovable now. When we feel lovable, other people also notice that we are lovable. But here's the mistake we make. We go to someone, hey, could you make me feel lovable? Could you make me believe I'm worth loving? Could you love me? Could you meet my unmet need to feel lovable, to feel desirable, to feel worthy? Somebody go, yeah, of course. You want me to love you? I'll sign up for that. I can make you feel lovable, desirable, sexy, worth being with. But the problem is when you give someone the job of making you feel lovable, you also give them the job of removing that whenever they want to. They may turn up for a week, a year, 5 years, but if their job is to make you feel good about you, the other side of that coin is when they leave, you feel bad about you. Oh, I'm not lovable. After all, that person that loved me found someone younger, taller, nicer, smarter. The only person who can make you feel really good about you is you. You must fall in love with yourself. Of course, you can find love, attract love, maintain love, but the other person can only make you feel as lovable as you already know that you are. So you have to fall in love with you. And once you do that, it's a game changer. When you fall in love with yourself, it's a lifelong romance. It never bores you. It never tires you. No shaving or waxing is involved in order to fall in love with yourself. You don't have to dress up for it. You can just be yourself. And here's another truth. You are going to spend the longest relationship in your entire life with you. You may have kids, but you're 30 when you have them. You may find love when you're 30, but they didn't have those first 30 years. Your parents may love you, but they die before you. The longest relationship you will ever have in your entire life is with yourself. You might as well fall in love with yourself. And by the way, if you think, oh, I've got friends who need to hear this, like, share, sign up. Help other people understand that in order to attract love, you have to feel lovable. Now I can hear the question, but yeah, okay, but how? Well, it's very easy. First of all, you think of what would someone who would love you say to you? Imagine you got the best lover in the world. What would they say? Well, you know what they'd say. Hey, I just love the very bones of you. I'm in love with your soul. I just love you. You're the best thing that ever happened. What do all those songs go? I can't live without you. You're the best thing that ever happened to me. So say it to yourself. Think of what you most want to hear and say it. Hey, I love you. I'm in love with you. You're amazing. Every time you go past the mirror, go, there you are. Look at you, you beautiful creature. Look at you. You are lovable. You're kind. You're warm. You're nice. You're funny. You got a big heart. Say everything you long to hear and dream of hearing to yourself. When you say it, your mind doesn't go, who's saying that? Who's saying that? It goes, oh, you're saying it? Well, if you say it, it must be true. You see, your mind knows someone else go, hey, I love you so much. Can you lend me $20? Your mind understands that other people can manipulate you with praise. If you say it, it must be true. If you say, I love myself, or I can't love myself, I've got fat legs. It must be true. So think about the words you most want to hear. Say them and say them and say them. And just like putting lotion on dry skin, they will sink in and nourish you from the inside out. Nourish your soul with words where you nourish your chapped lips with Vaseline, and it will nourish you. Look in the mirror and go, I love you, I love you, I love you because you're lovable. Don't ever go, I love you because you're smart, because you're a size 6, because you earn a lot of money, because you're a great dentist. No. I love you because you're lovable. So say the words you always wanted to hear. Fill up that missing part of you with your own words. Nourish your soul and spirit with words. Look in the mirror and say, I love you. I know it feels silly, but who cares if it brings to you lasting love? Isn't that worth it? Believe you are lovable. When you know you are lovable just the way you are, you allow the whole world to see that, of course, you are lovable just the way you are. And we live in a world that's been very unfair, and it's made us believe that only perfect people find love. But that's not true. I love the fact that now, especially in my country, there are 2 girls with Down syndrome who are models. In America, there is a girl, Amy Mullins, who is missing her lower limbs, and she's a catwalk model married to Rupert Friends, a massive movie star. There's a girl, I believe her name is Carmen Young Brown, who has vitiligo, impetigo, and is a Gap model, and is extraordinarily beautiful, but not perfect. And you see, you don't have to be beautiful to find love. You don't have to be perfect. In my experience of 33 years, people who try to be perfect are always unhappy, as they almost always are, alone. Supermodels get left. Beautiful people don't even get asked out because people think, well, no, they've got a perfect life. Many of my clients who are models and rock stars say, I'm lonely. People don't ask me out. I worked with a beautiful, breathtaking model who said all the men I date diminish me and put me down because they feel I'm too beautiful for them. If beauty made you happy, every beautiful person would be happy, and we know what they're not. We know that Whitney Houston, extraordinarily beautiful, was unhappy. Heath Ledger, what a beautiful, beautiful man, was unhappy. So if you want to feel lovable, fall in love with yourself. Nobody can do it like you can. And when you fall in love with yourself, instead of saying, oh, could you make me feel good? Could you make me feel good? Could you make me feel good? You go, well, I feel good. I am good. I'm here. I'm lovable. And if you want to join in and we can love each other, that's great. I love me and you can love me and I can love you. And I hope you already love you because I can only love what's already there. I don't want a broken person to try and put back together again. Hurt people hurt people. Damaged people damage people. You can start from being hurt. You can start from being damaged. And you heal your very soul when you fall in love with yourself. And by the way, we all know that if a bodybuilder wants to make a muscle bigger, they must break it, rest it, and build it up. And a broken heart is just the same. It's broken, and then it builds up bigger and better. And if you've had a broken heart, then you have a big, beautiful heart. Your scars make you more beautiful. Allow yourself to find love by doing the one thing that guarantees you'll find it. Know you're lovable. Know you're worth it. Fall in love with yourself. It changes everything. It really is a game changer. The law of control says this: your thoughts control your feelings. Your feelings control your actions control and dictate your behaviors. If you have to peel that backwards, how you think, how you act, how you behave, and how you feel all stem from how you think. That's actually great news because your thoughts are yours to change. I thought I wasn't enough, and then I thought, well, why not think I am enough? I thought love isn't available. Why did I think that? Because my dad left when I was 1. Well, he's an idiot. But I'm not. And somebody wanted me to be here, even if it wasn't him. I thought I should have been a boy, but maybe I was meant to be a girl. And when you can look at your negative thoughts and make them positive, it really does change your life, but not for a bit, forever. And for me, the most amazing thing has been changing my thinking, and seeing how that changed my life. But even better than that was it started off being what I did, and then it became who I am, and then it became extraordinary. And we should tell women the truth. It's great to look good. It's great to have shiny hair and a great body, and it's great to feel good. But if that made you happy, why have we got all these supermodels that are miserable? Why have we got people taking their life and being depressed when they look amazing? Because looking amazing is lovely, but I can tell you I have so many supermodels, Victoria's Secret models. My neighbors go, "What? Why is that person coming to you?" I don't tell them, of course, but it's because they never feel enough, even when they look like that. And happiness is from knowing you're enough just the way you are, making the best of yourself, but knowing you are enough, not, well, I'll be enough when I look like a supermodel, because if they're not happy and they look like that, why do you think you would be?
I think you're so right in what you say, so right. And people put a, I'll be happy when, whether it's lose 10 pounds, have £1 million. We're always gaining and losing the wrong kind of pounds, that sort of thing. And it's funny because I've had so many people say to me, since not working in TV, and it's not because I'm not working in TV. I love working in television. I was ready to make a change. Oh, you look so well. And I genuinely think that it's because it doesn't matter what size you are. It comes down to the whole Roald Dahl thing from the Twits. Do you remember the Twits? About how if you think ugly thoughts, those ugly thoughts will come out through your face, and you look ugly. But if you think good, kind thoughts, and you're happy within yourself, it doesn't matter what your face looks like, that will shine out and you'll be beautiful. And I genuinely believe in that. And I think that actually the most beautiful people, not just women, but the most beautiful people you see are the ones who are just so at home in themselves.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how tall or thin or short or round or whatever. There's just there's a joy
glowing
that shines out of them. That's what makes them beautiful.
I think so too. So Andrea, I'd love to know, what are your 3 top tips for mastering your mind? You've done very well, but I'd love you to share, if you had to tell someone the 3 tips that you would have to master their mind, that you've used to master your mind, what would they be?
I think the first one would be think differently. Mm-hmm. How can I think differently about this situation? Whether it is changing your perspective, like I mentioned earlier, or just try and flip it 180 degrees so that you're focusing on the solution rather than the problem. Because so often we're so honed in on what the problem is. We're not thinking about what the possible solutions are. So the first thing would be to think differently. The second thing, again, I've mentioned it before, would be control what you can control. Stop trying to wrestle your life to the ground and put your foot on its neck and go, right, now everything is working exactly as I want it to do. And I see this so often with friends of mine, that whether it's tidying their house so much, they're just trying to control their environment so that everything is spotless, make their kids or their husband behave in a certain way, it's almost this, if I don't step on the cracks, everything will be fine. Yeah. That beauty is very brittle, and it will snap and break. So stop kind of trying to control everything and just control the bits that you can control, and actually start with yourself. And what I would say with that is just let it go. And even that in itself is being in control of things, is letting things go. And my third thing would be, don't try and do huge, great things to change your life if you're unhappy. Do small things consistently. Because again, when we were talking right at the start about writing a book, people think, I want to write a book, but it's, oh my gosh, I can't write 100,000 words. That's massive. Like I say, I wrote a lot of my books in the notes section of my phone, just while I was on trains and tubes and this sort of thing. And I know the world isn't doing this right now, but we still have moments where you can jot little things down, and bit by bit, those small, consistent things actually build up to a much bigger thing. Whether it's, you don't brush your teeth for 1 hour once a week. You brush your teeth twice a day for 2 minutes. So do 5 sit-ups if you want a 6-pack a day, and within a month you'll be kind of getting there. rather than thinking I'm going to do 100 and then you do 5 and feel like a failure and then don't do any more. So it's do small things consistently. I mean, it sounds so silly. I've got my sister doing this now. I do squats while I brush my teeth, and I look silly, and the kids have got used to me. But by the time I finish brushing my teeth, I've done 30 squats. They're 30 squats I wouldn't have done at any other time because I'm too busy. But I'm standing still anyway, and I look ridiculous because I'm normally naked and I've just got out of the shower. God help anyone who comes in, but I'm literally doing my squats. And then they're done.
Yeah,
so
I actually do.
My top 3 things.
I do a bit of ballet exercises while I'm cooking too, because I'm standing at the stove. So I do kind of the leg exercises, and I do those sometimes when I'm in a line in a store. I think it's a great idea, as you say. Don't wait for that. You can do a few stomach crunches when you're lying on the sofa watching television. You can do some leg lifts. So you're absolutely right. First you make your habits, and then your habits make you. We go, I'm going to go to the gym. When I've lost 10 pounds, I look good in workout because I go to the gym. I'll do that when the kids are going to do it. And you just have to do it now. You're in the present. And so if you want to, as you say, working out for 5 minutes a day gets you in the habit. Waking up thinking, okay, I really want cake, but I'm going to eat an apple. I'm going out for lunch and I want to have pizza and fries and cake, but I'm actually going to have salad and fruit. And if you do that little change eventually, because after 10 days, you like what you do, you think, oh, actually, no, I like it. When I used to always drink tea with milk and honey and I loved it. And then I took the honey out, took the milk out, started to use almond milk. I didn't love it, but I remembered that in 10 days, this will be normal. And in 20 days, it was so normal. I now couldn't imagine ever drinking tea with milk and honey. In fact, it sounds disgusting, but it was my joy and my comfort many times a day. And it's about making a little change and then keeping it going. And I'd like to give a little hint too. When you're making a change, you need to say these magic words. I'm choosing to do this. And I'm choosing to do squats while I clean. I'm choosing to do a few crunches when I'm watching TV. I'm choosing to replace cake with some berries. It's not better, but I'm choosing it and choosing to feel great about it. Because then your mind goes, oh, you've got a choice. When you go, oh, I don't want to do that, and I don't like the berries, your mind says, oh, you go back to what you want. So you've been an amazing person to talk to, because you've given us so much great advice. But for our audience here, remember, don't just take advice, apply it. We all now need to start doing squats while we're cleaning our teeth, a few crunches while we're watching television, and we all need to go, hey, I'm enough. Check out my next video here. Play the only part we've ever known, and then you make that part your own. You go, you know what? I think it's time for a new part. I was told I could never, ever have children. My whole RTT training was based on being told I couldn't have a baby.